Speedway is the home field for most of the truck teams in tonight's race. Veterans are dominating the series. Who will leave here with bragging rights tonight?
Jim Smith, Ultra Motorsports. Jack Roush, Roush Racing. 2 owners, 2 teams, with 36 wins each in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Having a great time, Daytona style.
Roush has won with 7 drivers, Smith with 8. Tonight, it's Craven and Cleaver versus Musgrave and Spencer. The battle for bragging rights in the backyard takes center stage under the lights at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Two of the biggest in NASCAR. These 2 owners have captured almost a third of the races in series history. Roush fields a team of Craven and Cleaver. Smith's 2 veterans want to give him his first championship. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman. Inclement weather was the concern today, but it has cleared off. A beautiful night for racing in Charlotte. The top 10 point standings have Bobby Hamilton back on top after his win on Sunday in Mansfield. Now both Ultra Motorsports teammates find themselves firmly in the top 5. The 47 truck makes another appearance this season with Tony Stewart behind the wheel tonight. Pressure's a little higher though, since the truck hasn't finished out of the top 2 in both of its previous starts.
In the grand scheme of racing, the Truck Series is nothing new to Tony Stewart. Seizing back-to-back Richmond wins in 02 and 03 and a close third in 04, Stewart climbs into the 47 All-Star Chevy truck for the first time ever in Charlotte. Expectations are high for the 47 team. In Atlanta, Bobby Labonte duked it out with Ron Hornaday in a photo finish. Labonte returned even more determined the next race in Martinsville and found victory lane with the same team Stewart will drive for tonight. No, he's on stage. I'll go get him up.
Tony Stewart hanging out with some of his friends. Diamond Rio is going to sing tonight's national anthem, and so he's taking a few pictures with them. And it looks as though Wendy's caught up with Tony.
Tony Stewart was on stage doing pre-race intro. Tony, first of all, happy birthday. It's your 34th birthday today. But you might have a long night ahead of you. You had to do an engine change after that first practice. Did you guys get everything figured out, or is the engine still flat?
Well, we changed the motor, and then the first time we got a chance to try it was in qualifying. So it ran. It didn't run as good as the other motor. So we're hoping that the chassis setup's going to win the race tonight versus the motor.
All right, 5 starts for Tony Stewart, 2 wins in the Truck Series.
Last season, Dennis Setzer drove by the number 99 of Carl Edwards with less than 5 laps remaining to capture the checkered flag here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. With only 1 victory since then, many wonder if the 46 team will be a contender under the lights tonight in NASCAR's backyard. Entering Charlotte last year, Setzer's worst finish was an 11th, but this season he's already had a 33rd and a 16th place finish. But he holds quietly on in 6th place in the points. Dennis could use a trip to victory lane to legitimize his chances in the 2005 chase for the title. And Dennis Setzer is currently down trackside right now. We have Jim Lanning as our MRO pastor, and they just had a nice little prayer. Hey, that worked out good timing. Now let's talk about tonight's race. A year ago here, you went to victory lane. Is your truck good enough to do that tonight?
I don't know. Our Z71 Silverado looks really good. We got a limited amount of practice yesterday, the 2 one-hour sessions. We didn't come down and do the open practice, but I think Eric Phillips and the guys got it dialed in pretty good. It's a brand new truck, different type truck than we raced here last year, totally new setup, so we'll see how it works out.
Tell me about 1.5 mile tracks. Are they the kind of thing that you like?
Yeah, it seemed like I liked them pretty good last year. We didn't qualify so well this year. I think Tony and I both have a pretty good race truck under us, though.
Okay, good luck. That is Dennis Setzer, normally known as the short track king, but he was good here 1 year ago.
Festivities always big when you come to Charlotte for Lowe's Motor Speedway. Who will claim bragging rights? The stakes are high and the speeds are higher.
Black top, white lines, hazard lights and the warning signs. I want the rush of 100-mile-an-hour love.
Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. In celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Truck Series, we present the toughest NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series moments, made possible by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR. Moment 19 takes us back to May 15th, 2003, when Bill Lester, driving for Bobby Hamilton Racing in the number 8 Ram Tough Dodge, circled the Lowe's Motor Speedway faster than anyone else and put it on the pole. In doing so, Bill became the first African-American to sit on the pole of an upper-tier NASCAR event since 1962. It's been 41 years since Wendell Scott, who sat on the pole at Savannah Speedway in Savannah, Georgia, June 20th, 1962. Wendy's caught up with Bill Lester.
A great moment for Bill Lester. Bill starts 5th tonight. Now, since they've resurfaced this track, Bill, how is the racing going to be tonight? Do you think it's going to be better than in years past, better side-by-side racing?
Yeah, I really think they do. I think Humpy Wheeler and, you know, the folks here at Lowe's Motor Speedway need to be commended for what they did there with that diamond grinding. The Humpy bump is still there in terms of the look of it, but in terms of the feel of it, it's not even there. So I'm hoping to think that the aerodynamics these trucks have will keep them stuck in the corners. We'll have good side-by-side racing. This Checkers Toyota will be up front.
In our 7 races of 2005, Bill Lester has started in the top 5 4 of those times. And now tonight's 10th place finisher has spent this week in a cloud of controversy.
After dominating 2/3 of the last race at Mansfield Motorsports Park, Ron Hornaday got what many people thought was an early jump on a restart. And NASCAR thought so too, so they black flagged the Good Wrench Chevy. Multiple miscues resulted in an 11th place finish. Now here's another angle of what everybody in the Truck Series garage has been talking about this week. And Ron Hornaday just puts on the heel covers, ready to go. Now, you've had a whole week to look back from the video from last week. What's your thoughts now that you've had a little time to cool down and look back at the video? I know you've talked to Wayne Otten and all the guys in the garage.
The GM Good Wrench truck is really good tonight.
Here we go. And you like the track workers and all that, right?
Yeah, the track's really fast here at Charlotte, our Lowe's Motor Speedway, but it's racing. It's happened. The guys behind me know what happened, and other than that, it's fun.
Okay, let's move on to tonight, because this is what's really important to get back in the thrust of things. Are you good enough from what you learned in practice so far to contend for the win again tonight?
Same truck we've had at Atlanta. Wally and the guys just really believe in this truck, and I do too. We won at Atlanta. It qualified better than we thought it was gonna, and it was pretty fast. So we're looking forward to about 15, 20 laps. This thing will start coming alive.
Now, pit strategy. How many pit stops tonight?
We haven't talked about that yet. I don't know. Wally hadn't told me yet, and I haven't seen him. So he'll let me know. I'm sure when we get going here in the yellow, listen in, he'll let us know.
Okay, good luck. That is Ron Hornaday in the Good Wrench Chevy.
Ron Hornaday was on the inside, and Bobby Labonte on the outside in Atlanta in one of the top 10 closest finishes. When that 47 came across the start-finish line in second. We talked about that earlier with Tony Stewart now taking the seat for the 47 tonight. Let's head down trackside for tonight's pre-race festivities, beginning with our invocation.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day and for this opportunity to be here at Lowe's Motor Speedway to witness this event that we all love and enjoy. Tonight on this evening, we ask for your protection over all those competing and working in tonight's event, and that you would oversee all these fans who have come here to witness it. We also ask, Father, a special prayer for our brave men and women in uniform as they've chosen to sacrifice for our freedoms and the freedoms of others. We ask that you bless, honor, and protect their efforts. We thank you again for your blessings and for your grace, and we thank you for Jesus Christ. We pray in his holy name. Amen.
Please remain standing as the 6-time Vocal Group of the Year with over 10 million records sold performs tonight's national anthem. Let's hear it for Diamond Rio.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, who's brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the brave and the home of the
Great crowd on hand for racing under the lights at Lowe's Motor Speedway. More family and friends are able to make this race, so that adds to the pressure under the lights in Charlotte. Young and old, the fans are coming in droves to Lowe's Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It's race number 7. We're going to be getting underway after these few messages. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway under the lights at this 1.5 mile super speedway. Welcome to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Quaker Steak and Lube 200 presented on Speed Channel by Dodge. Hello everyone, I'm Rick Allen alongside of Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons. Yesterday qualifying took place. 29 of the 36 trucks in the field broke the old track record. This track is fast, Phil.
Rick, this was probably one of the roughest racetracks on the circuit. So Humpy Wheeler, in his infinite wisdom, decided to do a diamond grinding process to make this racetrack smoother. Well, the byproduct of that is incredible grip. The pole was 3.5 miles an hour faster than the old track record. As you mentioned, 29 guys broke the old track record, 29 drivers, I should say. So most of the drivers think we're going to see a lot of side-by-side racing, maybe even three-wide racing. But with all the improvements to the racetrack, it's still Charlotte.
And Phil, it's bumpy still. He toned the bumps down, but he didn't get rid of them. All the speed means that it's going to take more room for these trucks to get through the corner by themselves. Does that mean more side-by-side racing? I have never seen added speed add to side-by-side competition. I don't like what he's done with the racetrack as a driver, but I can't wait to watch this race tonight because we've seen the trucks. They know how to get it done side-by-side in all kinds of conditions. So I'm going to be watching the race tonight because I got a race here tomorrow night, and I want to see what happens.
Well, we're just glad Michael Waltrip's actually going to watch the race tonight with us from up here in the booth. We'll all watch it with you if that's all right.
I like that.
Let's go down to Ray.
Well, guys, Mike Skinner getting buckled in here to his Toyota Tundra. Of course, this is chassis number 10. It's truck number 5, but chassis 10. And this is the same truck that they ran back at Atlanta. And Mike Skinner was extremely, extremely fast there. Now, here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, he's run 13 different cup races with a best finish of 3rd. He's had 7 Busch races here, and I think he has a top 5 in the Busch Series. So Mike Skinner is good at 1.5 mile tracks in general and pretty good here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. But realize it's been an awful long time since Mike Skinner has gone to victory lane. The last time, Bakersfield of 1996, and that was 43 races ago. So Mike Skinner is certainly one of the guys that's due for a victory. He starts tonight from the pole.
Normally, Ray tells us how many days it has been since Mike Skinner won his last race. So he actually made the comment that it was just 43 races this time.
You know that Quaker Steak and Lube is a restaurant?
I did know that.
See, because I don't want the folks at home wondering why it's sponsored by
I understand.
oil.
Well, let's go back down trackside where a couple Carolina Panthers are on hand to give tonight's command.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carolina Panthers and partners in the Ruckus House, Mike Rucker, Mike Metter, and Amara Jordan for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, buckle up and start your engines.
As big as those guys are, I think I'd listen if I was a driver. The engines are fired up. We're moments away from the green flag. Who's going to lead that first lap?
And I spend my time with the pedal to the metal. Some people live their lives afraid of getting hurt, but I love the curve.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Quaker Steak and Lube 200 presented on Speed Channel by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And by New Mobil 1 Extended Performance, official motor oil of NASCAR. New resurfacing, we take a look at the Craftsman track description.
We've got a 1.5 miles, double quad oval, 24-degree banking in the corners, 5-degree down the straightaway.
A very, very fast and a little bit smoother racetrack than what we've had here in the past.
Yeah, the speed is just out of hand. We saw over 196 miles an hour into the corners in Cup qualifying just a little bit ago. And the thing that I like about these trucks, they won't go in the corner quite that fast, but when they get there, they don't slow down that much. So that's why you see such intense competition when you watch the Craftsman trucks.
See, we've got 36 trucks starting this race, 134 laps, 200 miles, purse a little bit over $500,000, and the pit window is somewhere around 55 to 60 laps.
Let's look at the Domino's starting grid. Mike Skinner up on top for the 19th time in his career, and just on the outside of him, Rick Crawford, Toyota and Ford in the front row.
Kyle Busch won the Busch race here last year, so he's got a lot of experience on this racetrack.
Good run for Robert Huffman. He's new with Darrell's team, and that was a solid effort in qualifying, and the guys say the truck's really good in race trim as well.
Look outside row number 4, Shiggy Hattori made some contact with a wall in practice, missed a lot of the practice, came out here and did a great job getting this truck in the show.
He hit the wall hard. Butch Miller on the inside of row number 9, a former winner in this series.
What about his effort last week at, up in Ohio? Great run for Butch Miller.
It was top 10 run for that team.
Tony Stewart will file with the 47 tonight. Has Diamond Rio riding on the hood with him.
Our most recent winner, Bobby Hamlin, starts on the inside of row number 12.
I remember a year ago, Phil, I ran these trucks. I drove that 47 truck that Tony Stewart's in tonight. And for a long time, you could give these trucks a whole lot of throttle in the corners, almost run wide open around here. Now with all the grip, I bet you these guys are sitting there wondering how long they're going to run wide open when the race starts.
A lot of the drivers in the garage here said they ran a lot of the laps in practice wide open. They practiced during the day when it was a lot warmer than it is right now.
There are 42 trying to qualify, 6 missed the field. We're going to be riding along with 4 different drivers. The 52 of Ken Schrader will start 30th, so we'll see if he can make his way through the field.
Tony Stewart, a former Cup winner here at this racetrack, drives the number 47 All-Star Racing Chevrolet.
There's Ted Musgrave. Check him out. He was so dominant in St. Louis a couple of weeks ago. That team's on a roll. We'll see if he can continue it tonight.
And our pole sitter, Mike Skinner, in his Toyota. What a terrific job. Over 183 miles per hour qualifying.
29.5 seconds around this 1.5 miles. Mike Skinner has the opportunity to earn his team $4,000 if he's able to win from the pole. If he doesn't win, another $2,000 will be added to the purse, and it will increase in increments of $2,000 each race that someone doesn't claim that prize from winning from the pole. And there's a total of $50,000 available to the teams this year. Let's go back down to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, Phil talked about the pit window. Yeah, it is about 55 laps, so that means we'll have 2 pit stops tonight here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Now, I think there is a very good chance that one of those tonight, or maybe both of them, could end up under green. We get a lot of cautions in most of our races in the Craftsman Truck Series, so normally the pit stops are under caution. But tonight, with the track being so wide and everybody running so fast, there's a chance they'll spread out and we could see green flag stops. The pit crews and pit road may play a factor tonight. Whether guys got to remember, no speeding. They haven't done green flag stops this year. Wendy?
Thanks, Ray. In our 6 races this season, Dodge has taken home 4 victories and Chevy has 2. The last time a Toyota won was Todd Bodine at Texas in 2004. Tonight, there's 3 Toyotas starting in the top 5. They usually have good horsepower at these 1.5 mile tracks like Lowe's Motor Speedway. Tonight could break Toyota's dry spell. Rick?
Thank you, Wendy. Toyota winning their first ever race in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in Michigan. We say in the backyard of the Big Three. Well, this is the backyard of all of the NASCAR teams. Well, most of the NASCAR teams. And so Toyota would love to get a win right here at Charlotte.
Well, they sure would. There's probably 70% of these teams that are based within 100 miles of this racetrack. So everybody's here. We saw Robert Presley, the 59 Harris Trucking Dodge, on pit road on the pace lap. He did some work on the front end. Now he's going to rejoin the field probably at the back.
You know, all the eyes of NASCAR watching these trucks here at Lowe's Motor Speedway tonight. There's been some talk in the garage area and in the media that Toyota might be coming cup racing or bush racing in the future. Also, I'm sure that those folks are all here wondering how these trucks are going to perform. It's time to step up and get back to victory lane for Toyota. They've been shut out for a while, like you said, Bill. And I know by talking to my brother Daryl and some of the guys down there in the garage area, they're on full court press trying to get back to victory lane.
And they've got some great teams and great drivers. They just haven't been able to put it together the entire race and get into victory lane, but it won't be long.
They had some changes, you know, after 2004 with some of their teams. Todd Bodine moved away from Mike Gilman. Some of the combinations that were there last year with Quapple and with Skinner moving over to Bill Davis's late last year has changed for Toyota. So anytime there's change, it's hard to continue your winning ways.
Speaking of Toyota, Johnny Benson, who drives one of the Toyotas, had to move to the back of the field for this start because of unapproved changes, along with Tony Stewart, when he documented the fact that he changed engines after his first practice session. So he will also move to the back. So it'll be Johnny Benson and Tony Stewart coming from the back of the pack.
This is going to be crazy, Phil. I cannot wait to see how these trucks react to this new surface that Humpy has created. Watergate or Levigate, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be nuts.
Randy Kaiser takes the pace truck down pit road. That means Mike Skinner is now in charge. Rick Crawford on the outside waiting for the green flag. Dennis James will show it to them, and we are racing at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
A little wiggle there. It looked like they may have spun the tires right there at the start-finish line. A lot of horsepower in these trucks, well over 700 horsepower.
A lot of folks also theorize that it might be better to have an outside starting position. It would be difficult to hold the truck wide open down on the bottom of the racetrack. We can see Rick Crawford getting momentum and a push from behind by Robert Huffman and trying to grab the lead as they shoot down into turn 3 and across the middle of 3 and 4.
We see sparks early on. Is that because of tire pressure right now?
It's tire pressure, and plus you want these things as low as you can get them, Rick. Even when the tires blow up with air, you still want to be as low as you can get. Skinner does a great job on the bottom of the racetrack holding the lead.
We may see these trucks sparking this entire race. As Michael said, you want to seal that front end off on the right to the racetrack the entire time if you can.
Mike Skinner claimed the first lap, so he led the first lap, and he's out in front of this field now. Kyle Busch early on wants to contest for that lead.
Remember, that's Billy Ballou's truck that Shane Neal normally drives. He had a great top 5 run last week at Mansfield. They came along with a sponsor, Kyle Busch, and they're going to put him in this truck, Ditech.com. So Billy Ballou's got a little bit of sponsorship for this race, and he's got a great truck once again.
Ron Hornaday on that restart, or the actual start, wasn't up to speed.
See what happened to Ron here on the start. He was underneath Shigeatori, and Ricky just clips him when Ron comes to the left. That's tight racing. You'll see that all night here at Charlotte with these trucks. They're all over each other.
Yeah, Ron wanted to get to the inside. He wanted to get by Shigeatori, and unfortunately for him, Ricky Craven was there. Ricky couldn't even think about getting out of the throttle quick enough to avoid hitting Ron right in the left rear quarter panel.
It looks like that truck is strong, though, Phil. He's moving right back up through the field.
Michael in the garage here, he's one of the drivers that everybody up and down pit road said this is one of the best trucks here. He's told us it was the same truck he had in Atlanta, and we know how well he ran there.
Race for the lead. Kyle Busch on the inside of Mike Skinner, and Busch will take away the top spot.
As we mentioned before, Kyle Busch won a Busch race here last year. He's run 4 Busch races, and he's had good finishes in 3 of them. I think he's been in the top 5 3 of the 4 races.
And Phil, because of his youth, he was not able to continue with the Truck Series. His best finish in the Truck Series is 9th, and that was back in 2001, right?
Hey guys, Kyle Busch will also be running at Michigan and at Dover in this number 15 truck with sponsorship from Ditech. So he's very excited about getting back to the Truck Series. He wants to be one of those guys that someday is in position to put his name as a winner in all 3 divisions. Right now hoping to get a victory here tonight at Charlotte, but he has 3 races for sure scheduled in the 15 truck.
Tony Stewart in the 47 again had to go back because they changed an engine prior to qualifying, and so that relegated him to the back of the pack, and he's already been shown in the 21st position.
That's amazing. He's already passed 15 trucks in 6 laps.
And he's passing more right now, too. Up on the outside goes Tony Stewart into turn 1. That truck looks like it's handling really well for Tony.
To move to the inside of Chase Montgomery in the 18 truck.
Bobby Hamilton also on the move.
That patented higher line for Hamilton. He's running higher than anybody as usual, Phil.
Started way back in the 23rd position, already up into the top 10.
You think he was worried about where he started?
Not at all. He started 36th at Daytona. Where'd he end up at the end of the race?
A lap down at one point, and then
wins the race.
Single file line. Up in front, it's Kyle Busch. Mike Skinner led the first few laps, and now it's Kyle Busch's turn to take the lead. We'll be back with more racing at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Our first caution has come out at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Todd Bodine taking a very interesting ride across the infield at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
See if we can take a look at Todd, see what happened. He's on the inside of Ron Hornaday. Looks like he got a little bit loose. Has to use up the racetrack, and in order to not hit Ron Hornaday, he turned the wheel left, and it sent him spinning in the infield. We've seen that so many times. The truck on the inside getting a little bit loose, and this is another case of that happening.
that was Todd being courteous. He didn't want to run into Hornaday, so he hooked the left and unfortunately went for a spin.
Wind Tunnel live Sunday at 9 p.m. We can join Dave Despain with special guest co-host, former NASCAR Nextel Cup champion Tony Stewart. Dave and Tony will have plenty to talk about. Casey Kane's first Nextel Cup win with $1 million purse in the Charlotte All-Star Race. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway for the Quaker Steak and Lube 200 presented on Speed Channel by Dodge. Our aerial coverage is courtesy of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company and its fleet of airships, reminding you to travel with peace of mind on Goodyear's new Assurance tires. Beautiful track. Nice view of Lowe's Motor Speedway from up above. Ray?
Hey guys, Ricky Craven came in. You know, he was talking about being real loose in the center. He said it's really bad in the center, a little bit bad off, so they decided they wanted to pit. Came in here at lap 15, took a pound out of the left sides, and also made an air pressure adjustment. So Craven pitting early here to try to make the truck a little bit better.
Gunnar Setzer also came in a Chevy Silverado. He's the teammate to Tony Stewart in the 47 truck.
There were several trucks, Phil, that looked like they had the setup down pat when they threw the green flag, moving through the field like Bobby Hamilton and Tony Stewart. Other guys were sliding back in a hurry, so looks like it's the have and the have-nots right now. And these guys coming to pit road, I think, is a testament to that. They didn't plan on being on pit road at lap 12 for sure.
That's right. Could really work to their advantage, though, if this race gets a little green flag run. Oh, what a tough break for Ken Schrader. The Federated Auto Parts Chevrolet, unfortunately, we hear he has some engine trouble, out of the race already.
Disappointing run. As always, when you come to Charlotte, you want to run well. You've got a lot of family and friends in the stands, and obviously Ken Schrader out of this one, so very disappointing.
His shop isn't 5 miles from here, Rick, so I know those guys were really looking forward to a good night tonight, and he usually gets his way from the back to the front like this cat does. Bobby's driven up to 9th position already. Is that amazing?
Started 23rd, right?
You know, you guys were talking about Bobby Hamilton going to the high side. Yesterday morning when we got here to the racetrack, Deborah Renshaw wanted Bobby Hamilton to take her for a ride. So I jumped in the pace truck with him. We went out on the track to take a couple of laps, and Bobby says, "Hey, Ray, look to your right." And I looked, and the door was about a quarter of an inch away from the top of the wall. So Bobby Hamilton will definitely be using the high side tonight.
On that restart, you saw Ron Hornaday go to the outside. Someone opened the door for the restart master, Ron Hornaday.
Yeah, he getting black flag last week didn't slow him down in any of his restarts, but you're allowed to pass to the right-hand side once the green flag is displayed. You have to wait for the green flag to come out. You can't go when the leader goes. You have to wait for the green flag to be displayed before you can pass.
Man, they might have got some guys' attention by black flagging them last week out of the lead, but they didn't bother Hornaday. today, did they? He just got on the gas and went as soon as they said go just then. But he got to the inside of Huffman, and now look at all the positions he's losing, Phil.
Boy, it looks like the outside line is really moving. You see Ted Musgrave, Bobby Hamilton going by.
Musgrave's now looking under Huffman as they exit turn 2. See if he's strong enough to make the pass on the bottom. I think that's the telltale sign of if you've got a strong truck or not. If you can dive to the bottom like Ted is there and complete the pass. We know they can get up beside the other guy, but can they finish the deal?
Can they not do it without getting loose on the bottom, too? They lose so much air off the rear spoiler. See, he was not able to make the pass. Robert Huffman able to pull back around him on the outside. See, Ted's going to try to get on the inside. Robert.
Oh, trash into turn 1, guys. Big hit. And off turn 2, excuse me. Rudeman goes around off 2.
That's the 65. That's Regan Smith. Glenn Motorsports entry. A lot of damage to the back of that truck.
Man, that was a big...
I'm sorry, guys.
Sounds as though he's communicating with his team right now.
Yeah, I'm fine. I lost air off.
You heard him say he lost the air off the spoiler. He was probably on the inside like we've seen so many times. The truck on the inside loses that downforce off the rear. That's a tremendous amount of damage to the back of that truck.
That's a short bid. Now, that's a huge crash. Rudeman's got some severe damage to the back of that NTN truck as well.
See what kind of a glimpse we can get at this. You see Regan's already in the outside wall.
Wow.
You see him keep the brakes locked. I'm trying to keep the truck up there, but unfortunately the banks are self-cleaning. More than likely it's coming back down. You see a rear spring rolling down the racetrack. You see there's David Rudeman. See David Starr. He makes a little bit of contact with David Rudeman.
That left front damage I don't think is going to be what hurts Rudeman. That back end of that truck is really pushed down. I don't know how they got involved. They're past the accident scene.
Yeah, there's the contact between David Starr and David Rudeman.
Wow.
There's Regan Smith walking to the ambulance. A good sign. As hard a hit as that was, the safer barriers kept him safe.
This week in Charlotte, 4 students from the Urban Youth Racing School based in Philadelphia got a unique behind-the-scenes look at various disciplines in the motorsports industry as part of the week-long internship sponsored by Craftsman Motorsports. Taj Muhammad, Jason Simmons, Stephanie Hartfield, and Cornell Robinson. Speed Channel, they were able to intern with them as well as NASCAR R&D Center, NASCAR Scene, and the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. And there's the 4 involved with this Urban Youth Racing School. Taj Muhammad working with the speed team this evening. Second caution comes out tonight. Tonight, following this truck race, it's trackside. Get ready for some all-star fun with Darrell, Larry, Jeff, and Steve. You never know who will show up or what's going to happen. So stay tuned for NASCAR Trackside tonight at 11 p.m. or following this race only on Speed Channel.
So what's the first thing a team does when they come back from the racetrack? Well, they pull their truck out of the transporter, put it in the parking lot, and get out their Craftsman pressure washer and clean it up. You got all kinds of oil and dirt and grime on it. Well, this baby will do the trick. It's 2,900 PSI, but here's one of the things I love the most about this particular unit. See these 4 bottles back here? You can put all kinds of different cleaning fluids in here and use this dial right over here to turn from one to the other. So no more taking out a hose and sticking it into a jug that might fall over. You put your stuff right in here and it comes streaming out. It's got a 30-foot hose and a hose winder, but check this out. You like a medium tip, you can use it. But if not, and you want a concentrated tip, you take it, it snaps right on just that quickly. This baby will get all of your cleaning work done, and no more quarters at the car wash.
Cleanup continuing on the racetrack here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Tomorrow on Speed Channel, it's a special all-star edition of NASCAR This Morning. The If it's happening at the track, you will know about it. The latest news, updates, and more. NASCAR This Morning, All-Star Edition, live tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed Channel.
There's Ted Musgrave. He's made a pretty good run so far, currently being shown in the 6th position. He started back in the 12th position.
During the long caution here, Phil, the 99, the 66, and of course Rudem in the 17 have all been on pit road about every lap trying to get those trucks straightened out. Todd spun. The 99 just didn't like the way his truck was handling. These early cautions are a great opportunity for him to get to work on it.
We also got a report that the 99 had a tire roll across pit road, so he's going to have to restart from the longest line anyway. He might as well take his time, do all the adjustments he wants to do so he can get back out here, because he's going to have to start the back anyway.
While we have a little time, let's go back down to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, at the top of the show, I said this will definitely be a 2-stop race, and that's pretty much everybody's strategy because they're going to want to have tires. But a few guys that aren't running that great right now have been on the radio saying we could make this a 1-stop race, and that could give us real good track position. But to do that, they've got to get to about lap 30, 32, something like that, before you make your first pit stop. If you get a little bit past 30 and then you can run 55 more laps, that would put you in the window to do this on just 1 stop. Wendy?
I want to talk about Tony Stewart, Ray. He's moved up to 10th, started deep in the field. Randy Goss, his crew chief, told me before the race that he was taking a guess on the setup. It's the same setup. They have not changed it from testing. Bobby Labonte actually tested this 47 truck for Tony, but Randy Goss feels like he was taking a guess at the setup, and looks like he's made some pretty good guesstimates tonight. Tony's up to 10.
I like Randy Goss's guesses. He's a smart man. He's won a lot of races, and I promise you, Goss didn't guess out in left field somewhere. He got his notes out in the hotel room or at home last night, studied everything he did testing, studied what we did here a year ago, and that's why when they said go, Tony Stewart was ready to roll.
You know, we talked about you finishing 5th in that truck last year. Well, you led a bunch of this race. You had a heck of a shot to win that thing.
Yeah, we led the most laps, and on a late restart, Carl Edwards got beside me, got sideways, and hit my truck in the front and broke the nose on it. So I could have told Elliott Sadler last week at Richmond he better watch Carl, because Carl just he sets her on go, and if he runs into you, that's just part of his deal. He'll apologize later.
When you get into that truck, Michael, do you feel added pressure because you're a Nextel Cup driver coming into the truck series?
No, I just was real proud to work with Goss and happy to experience that whole team that Chevrolet put together. I like the way they did things with the 46, the 47, Jack Sprague's truck. Everybody was working so well together. It was just a great opportunity for me to experience a different series in a truck that I could have won the race in. We led the most laps, had a real chance to win it right till the end. So anytime you can get in a competitive race vehicle with a smart man like Randy Goss working on it, a driver just sucks all that up, loves being a part of it.
Talk about somebody that's made a major move. Bobby Hamilton already being shown in the 7th position. Bobby started back in the 23rd position, already up to 7th.
Kyle Busch leads the field to the green flag. It's Kyle Busch's 2nd time leading a truck race. Back in 2001, he led 17 laps at Chicago, so it's been quite a while since he's been out in front of a truck race.
2001, what was he, 15?
Well, and that's why the little hiatus has been there, because he was not yet 18, and NASCAR imposed the rule that you had to be 18 to drive in one of the upper 3 tiers of NASCAR.
That rule was actually imposed while we were at a racetrack out in California. I mean, Kyle was there to race, and NASCAR created a rule. Actually, it was one of the other sponsors of another sub-series that was there said, hey, you know, we can't allow anyone under 18 to race, and NASCAR created that rule. Kyle Busch was not able to race that weekend, nor till he turned 18 in the major NASCAR series.
Look at Bobby, look at Tony Stewart on the bottom of the racetrack making a move, Phil. You see he's beside Huffman there. He can't finish the deal. I saw Bobby Hamilton go to the inside and complete a pass. I think in order to win this race, you got to be able to drive to the bottom and pass a guy.
To put a point on that Kyle Busch story, that enabled Carl Edwards to get a ride in the Craftsman Truck Series, and look where he's gone. Ray, what's going on?
Hey, Rick, I just wanted to add a little bit to that because I was there that day and Kyle Busch got out of the truck. He should have won the race that day, but he didn't realize that he needed to move it back and forth to keep the fuel into the pickup. We had just a couple of laps to go, and he actually ran out of fuel as the leader. And Kyle Busch was so dejected that day, he said, I should have won this race today. And everybody came over and said, look, that's what the Truck Series is about. It gives you opportunities to learn things that you'll know better in the future.
Look at the Ultra Motorsports teammates teaming up back in 4th and 5th right now. Jimmy Spencer and Ted Musgrave, and great side-by-side racing. Matt Crafton on the inside of the 6 of Ron Hornaday. Those two drivers, Matt Crafton getting out of the 6 this year. Ron Hornaday taking over that ride.
Oh, we got a flat.
Oh, problems with Shigeatori. Sparks flying out. He must have hit the wall pretty hard. The damage on the front end of that truck is pretty extensive.
I think he blew a tire first.
Sure looks like it. We see a lot of damage to this truck. Obviously, he made some hard contact, but it would be a whole lot worse, Michael, if it wasn't
Yeah,
for the safety barriers. We just heard, yeah, I'm okay out of Shiggy.
Well, Phil, you're going so fast, and just to have hit these walls before is concrete, and know that it isn't going to be like that when you hit them the next time. It's such a relief for the drivers. You go out there and all you think about is putting the hammer down, going as fast as you can. If something goes wrong, well, NASCAR, Tony George, Dr. Dean Sicking, these guys have created safer barriers to bail us out when something goes wrong. And I can't express to you what that means as a race car driver, knowing that those walls aren't concrete anymore.
Take another look at this way back in the back here. You see Shiggy.
He's already made contact with the outside wall. You see the sparks coming from the right front of the truck. You mentioned earlier he made some contact in practice. They were able to get that truck back together, and that a terrific qualifying run, qualified in the top 10th, up in the 8th position.
Makes you wonder if maybe there was something rubbing on the right front of that truck that caused his tire to go down, since he did make contact with that side of the truck. But you know, they got it back together perfectly, or he couldn't have qualified as well as he did. But awful early to have a tire problem. We can see all the leaders now, Phil, coming to pit road. Be interesting to see if any of these guys that pitted earlier made their trucks good enough to stay out and get some track position right now.
Wendy?
Tony Stewart is in for 4 tires and a slight adjustment. He said it was a little bit on the tight side, so they are going up a half a pound in the right rear. Let's check in with Ray.
Wendy, Mike Skinner brings his Toyota Tundra in. Philip Norris does the front tires. Chad Rainey on the rears. They've decided it's a 4-tire change for sure, but I saw Spencer do 2 right sides only. I believe Musgrave did the same thing, so we'll have different tire strategy here. They're going to put a little patch of tape on the front, but it didn't get it stuck, so they were hoping to get some tape on the front. Did not happen. Skinner will get back off pit road about 5th.
See a lot of sparks off of one of the trucks coming down pit road. You wonder if maybe the tire was left off. That's the 44 Clay Rogers truck. His first career start in the Craftsman Truck Series. Something is amok with the left side. Look, he's got a lug nut jam, Michael. The left front is completely stationary, so he's got a lug nut jam between the wheel and the caliper. Looks like it just, unfortunately, too late. It's already flat spotted and blown out the tire, but he finally dislodged it.
And if you watched the Cup race last week, we saw Carl Edwards, or excuse me, Kurt Busch have the same thing happen, and fans were going, well, how could that happen? These air wrenches have such high speed, high RPMs. They fling those lug nuts when they take them off, and sometimes they just bounce through a hole in the wheel and cause a problem like we saw there with Clayton Rogers.
Shigeatori got into the wall to bring out our 3rd caution of the race in Charlotte. Sparks are flying. We're under the lights at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Let's take a closer look at the Premier Division of NASCAR and our Nextel Cup update. Look at the point standings. An off week for the Nextel Cup Series. Jimmy Johnson out in front. Obviously, the points are very important come race 26.
Yeah, they are. And last week was a big deal for the points guys that are racing to be within 400 points. It slid all the way back to 19th position now, are within 400 points because of Gordon and Johnson having problems last week in Richmond. Tomorrow night, though, no points on the line, but a really cool trophy, and about $1 million, too, by the way, if you can win the Nextel All-Star Challenge. And I know there's about 22 guys down in that garage area that are licking their chops about tomorrow night.
Well, you'll be one of those guys that'll be vying for the $1 million. Brigon's team over the wall, doing some work on his Jasper Dodge.
Now, there's some guys stayed out, Phil. Kyle Busch stayed out. I do not understand this move at all. They're well past halfway on a gas run, even if the tires were perfect. So Not sure I understand that move. Terry Cook, Tom Bodine, these guys, I can understand them staying out. They've been in on the earlier cautions. They think they got their trucks tuned up and ready to go. Now they're taking advantage of some
It'll be interesting to see what Randy Goss and his crew are thinking, because again, as you mentioned, they're only 20-some laps away from a scheduled pit stop.
32 laps are complete. Kyle Busch remains in front of the field. Only 2 leaders so far, Mike Skinner and Kyle Busch. Charlotte, North Carolina area, the backyard of most of the teams in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Living and working in the area makes this a little bit more important to run well in front of your family and friends. Stands back full in the front stretch. Everybody up on their feet, waiting for our 3rd restart of the night. We've had 3 cautions, and now the green flag about to come back out again, and it's Kyle Busch leading them across the start-finish line.
I mentioned a few moments ago that Randy Goss, wondered what he was thinking. It's actually Richie Waters is Kyle Busch's crew chief. Randy Goss is Tony Stewart's crew chief. But right now he's out there. He's got about 30 laps on his tires. We've got some fellas behind him with a lot fresher tires.
Well, I don't think the tires will be an issue, Phil. We didn't see these tires falling off much during practice. I think the issue is, do these guys run 20 or 30 laps, and that 15 truck have to come to pit road? Oh, no, it's not going to happen right now. What?
Well, it's Tony.
Look at Tony Stewart.
Trying to hang on. Tony Stewart spinning him around, and he'll come down pit road.
Yes, he never did spin out.
Jack Sprague got turned around.
I got it.
Got turned around right behind him in the aftermath.
Caution flag comes out.
That is so cool. He never did
might need
spin
some
out.
tires, though.
Tony said, I got it.
He just said he might need some tires. He might need some undies,
Get 4, guys. Get ready here.
Remember, Bobby Labonte spun down through the grass in Atlanta and came within just a few thousandths of a second of coming back and winning that race.
And Tony Stewart last Saturday night in Richmond leading the race, spins her out, comes back to finish second. We got to ask Tony about that. I got to call him. Can I call him?
See some damage on the back right there.
Wow.
There's a tornado on that truck.
There was some real interesting things going on there.
You're pushing the truck back.
How'd you do that, Phil?
I'm not sure.
Phil put a tornado on the screen.
We had one in Mansfield, you know. We had a tornado.
I saw
Tore the grandstands down.
What a great job of that facility to get people in that place on Sunday afternoon.
Turn right.
He must have broke his transmission or something during the course of that spin. You know, sometimes when you're spinning, you're trying to grab a gear. Oh, no, Phil. Damage on Bobby Hamilton.
How about a lot of damage to the front of the 04 of Bobby Hamilton. He makes his way down pit road.
And let's see if we can see what happened. You see Tony on the outside. He came down a little bit, looks like, made a little contact with Kelly Sutton, the 02. Almost had it saved. Ted Musgrave said, please get out of my way.
Ted did a great job of patiently waiting. Here comes Hamilton in the back. Can't see because of all the smoke and runs right into Jack Sprague.
He probably did some damage to the left rear of Jack Sprague. He might have bent the rear end housing. That's why they pushed Jack Sprague behind the wall.
That is an amazing job by Tony Stewart, not ever spinning that truck all the way out. Kelly hangs onto her truck. Musgrave just patiently waits for Tony to get out of the way, but Bobby Hamilton can't see where he's going.
Remember, folks, they're going over 180 miles an hour in these trucks, and Tony Stewart's able to keep that one pointed in the right direction.
That was it. You heard Ted Musgrave get out of the throttle till Tony spun down out of his way. Let's see if we can take a ride with Tony.
Let's listen to his throttle. Let's see what all he does with the throttle in this truck when he gets hit.
You never give up. Never give up. He's on the throttle, off the throttle.
Gas her up.
I got it.
He said, I got it.
That was as cool as you'll ever see right there.
I might need some tires, though.
Here's our points leader, Bobby Hamilton, the hood up. A lot of damage to the front right of that truck.
Yeah, he's bent the suspension on the front of that truck, Wendy. That looks like it could be trouble.
The 47 of Tony Stewart's in. He's been pretty comical on the radio, just as he was in the All-Star qualifying. You remember he spun out at the end of at the top of pit road for his qualifying run, and he told his crew guys then, I guess you have to have a fast pit stop. Same thing tonight with the 47 group. He said, hey, just put some tires on it. I got it. I think he's enjoying this birthday night, Tony Stewart is. Ray?
Well, not so much enjoyment over here for the 16 group in Jack Sprague, Wendy. They know they have to replace the left side trailing arm. You see a lot of damage here on the back side of the Chevy Silverado. Now they're going to have to take the panhard bar loose and replace that also, but the left side trailing arm was bent extremely, and Sprague knew it right away. He said, terrible, terrible vibration. That moves the left rear wheel way too far forward, and it was rubbing up against the frame rail, as you can see there. So they'll have to change the trailing arm and the panhard bar.
And that damage that we saw on Jack Sprague's truck was because of this damage to the front of Bobby Hamilton's truck. He was coming through the smoke, didn't see Jack Sprague, and got into the back of him.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where the damage in the rear came from, but the right front damage definitely came from the 16 truck of Jack Sprague.
Two former champions doing a lot of work on pit road right now. 4 cautions so far in Charlotte. We'll see if we can get through without any more. Just back underway with the Quaker Steak and Lube 200 presented on Speed Channel by Dodge. Kyle Busch going down the back stretch. Green flag just came out. Todd Bodine on the inside of Terry Cook.
Remember, Todd Bodine has a little bit fresher tires than Kyle Busch has. You know, I don't understand. We documented that the previous caution that Kyle Busch stayed out with Richie Waters, crew chief, they stayed out in this caution. Like I said, this is a perfect opportunity for him to come in the pits. We've run 40 laps now. They can't be more than about 20 laps away from a pit stop, and he's still on the racetrack.
Wow. Todd Bodine almost getting sideways there as he was trying to clear the 10 of Terry Cook. Caught the back of that truck.
I'd like to know their strategy down there with that 15 truck, because eventually it's going to run out of gas. I think the tires are fine, Ray, but what are they going to do about gas here in a little bit?
Well, Michael, basically I asked Richie Waters why not pit now and do it on one stop. He said, what, are you crazy? I got all these tires here. I want to have good tires at the end. We figure there'll be 15 to 20 to go, and there'll be another caution. Everybody's going to want tires then, so I'm saving them.
Well, Ray, the only problem I see with that, he's got 41 laps on his tires right now, driving away from the field. If everybody doesn't pit to get those tires like Richie wants to, track position will sink him. Plus, the fact of the matter is, he's got to have gas here in what, Phil? 15 laps?
15 to 20 laps. So I really don't understand this rule. I don't think I would worry about saving a set of tires, just as you mentioned. If he's the only one that pits, he's got one extra set of tires. There's no way that he can pass 15 or 20 trucks in a short period of time.
Wendy.
The 10 truck of Terry Cook is right along with Kyle Busch. They have not pit either. He's running second. Their strategy, they plan on going at least to lap 60 on gas and then coming in. So Kyle Busch right now is not the Lone Ranger on the track.
I think that's equally as questionable strategy for the 10 truck. Again, I don't understand if the
trouble off too. Yeah. Jimmy Spencer's around.
Mr. Excitement keeps it going straight as Bobby Hamilton just avoided that skid.
Come on,
and the caution will come out. We'll see this time if Kyle.
Wow, all right, that's the best save I ever saw. He just outdid Tony Stewart with that save.
That was a tremendous save. He never even got off the racetrack, but what a tremendous break for Kyle Busch and Terry Cook.
They got to come now. They got to come now and get some gas in those trucks.
Leave the tires on it if he wants to save tires, but come in and get some gas, Richie.
Wow, I can't believe what I've seen. You know, I drove these trucks, like we said a year ago, and when they get sideways, you're able to drive through that, but not that sideways. How did he do this? On the inside of Huffman, no, excuse me, on the inside of Skinner, pushes up into him.
Just a little bit. Skinner actually came down maybe a hair, and what a tremendous job. Look at Timothy Peters get by Jimmy Spencer. Tremendous job for his first time ever on a super speedway.
And Ted Musgrave was in the same position he was a few laps ago when Tony spun out. Watch Ted. Okay, right now Ted's officially thinking, no, not again. Wow, he barely made it through.
Split-second decisions enable you to avoid things like that.
Phil, I'm glad you pointed out early. They're running 180 mile an hour. Like, this is not easy to do if you were running 55.
Michael, the pole at Daytona was 182.5. The pole here, 183. They run faster here on a 1.5 mile track than they do at Daytona on a 2.5 mile track because of the restrictions in place.
And that's why you're seeing everybody spin out and get sideways, because they're just trying to go so fast. And guess what? I got some news for you, Phil. The 15 still didn't pit.
Terry Cook is going to come down and get service. Wendy?
Terry Cook is in for 4 fresh tires and only an air pressure adjustment. He's also requested that the tear-off been taken on. He's having a hard time seeing out of that truck. A little bit of trouble on the right rear. It looks like, from my angle, I can't see what's going on that side, but they do come around to the left sides now. A little bit of trouble for Terry Cook's pit stop.
I'm going to venture to guess that the 46 truck of Dennis Setzer, who won this race 1 year ago, has pitted at least 20 times. And the cat leading the race ain't been on pit road yet.
But he's going to have to come in eventually, Michael.
Okay, well, we've established that. But when? What do they know that we don't? How could this be a good idea? Other than the fact that we're seeing caution after caution after caution, simply because these guys are going so fast and running so close together, that is the reason why we're seeing so many cautions. Does that mean it's stretching his mileage to where he thinks he can go to lap 70 with gas? Ray, do you have any idea?
Yeah, Michael, that's exactly what Richie just told Kyle Busch on the radio. He said, we only have 21 green flag laps so far, so don't worry about it. We've got plenty of time here. We'll be able to go much further. Many of the crew guys down here saying, wonder why we didn't pit. And I said, I'm saying the same thing, but man, the crew chief gets paid the big money. That's why he's sitting up there, and he has decided they can go a lot longer. He wants his tires for the end of the race.
Those tires he's got on there are running real good.
I would venture to say that Richie will end up with an extra set of tires in his pit when this race is over. I don't think he'll have time to put them on, Michael.
3 Chevys out in front is Kyle Busch. Sean Murphy with a great run. He has a career best so far of 13th this season. And David Starr right behind him in 3rd.
David usually runs really well here. He finished 3rd last year in this race. See him to get a little bit loose on the inside. We've seen that happen so many times. David had a little bit of damage from an earlier accident, but he looks like he's pretty much up to speed now.
Another guy that's up to speed, you see him going by the camera right there, Tony Stewart. He's around the outside and moving back to the front in that 47 truck. The only way you can make big moves, Phil, and pass a lot of trucks is to go around the top. If you get down on the bottom with all the aerodynamic downforce these trucks have on them, you put yourself beside another truck, it robs all that downforce away, and you're going to get sideways. It hurts your momentum, and you can't make big moves. That's why you see guys like Bobby Hamilton, who started 23rd or 4th, run to the top 10 in a hurry. He did it all ring in the top.
Because you don't lose the downforce when you're up there. Right now, there's Timothy Peters on the outside of the racetrack. He's not losing the downforce like the one truck right here of Ted Musgrave is.
He's running, when he goes down in the corner with that 4 truck, he's running against a wall of air. A wall of air that isn't there if you're on the inside because there's a low pressure between the outside truck and you.
And look at the one of Ted Musgrave. He got loose on the inside of Timothy Peters and lost 4 or 5 positions.
Up in the front, look at Sean Murphy. He is all over Kyle Busch. And Todd Bodine, who spun out earlier in the race, has been to pit road, and he's rebounded, and he's in the front as well.
Cannot say enough about Sean Murphy. What a terrific job he's done in this race. That truck with Butch Miller driving last week at Mansfield finished in the top 10, a great 10th place run. The team truck with Rich Bickle driving, the one that Butch is driving tonight, finished 5th. Bobby Dodder, Gene Christensen, that team really got their stuff going right now.
3 Chevrolets have pulled themselves away from the field right now.
You really have to respect the job that Richie Waters does with that 15 truck. Phil, getting it set up. We saw Shane Mill just look like a rocket ship in that thing, and now we put a different cat behind the wheel. Same story, it's right out front. So Richie and them know how to get that truck dialed in for the race, to the racetrack for sure.
Won the race last year at Las Vegas. First major win for Shane in the major NASCAR series. Had a great 3rd place run last week at Mansfield. That team is on the move. But they're going to have to come to pit road eventually.
Todd Bodine's brought his Toyota up into the top 3. Mike Skinner right behind him in 4th. David Starr's dropped back to 5th position. Timothy Peters with a good run in 6th so far. Matt Crafton in 7th. Ricky Cravens 8th. Robert Huffman 9th. And Johnny Benson rounding out the top 10.
You know, every one of these trucks, other than Kyle Busch, has been on pit road. So they've all made adjustments. They put fresh tires on, and Kyle Busch still running the fastest laps on the racetrack. That's how well this truck is set up by Richie Waters, and how well the Goodyear tires are doing also.
Todd Bodine looks in trouble. Looks like he tries to take 2nd away from the 07.
The 07
got Murphy.
He got into the outside wall, and he's messed that truck up, Rick. If he tries to fly down into the corner, he'll wreck it.
Sparks flying out of the 66 of Todd Bodine. Wendy, what's going on with Todd?
This the 66, I was just getting ready to report he had the oldest tires out of any of those trucks right before him and Sean Murphy got together. He did come in on lap 20 for fresh tires, but now we're just listening. No comments right now on Todd Bodine's radio. They did grab the tires and the guns, but it looks like they do not plan on pitting at this point.
Sean Murphy just got high. Looks like Todd might have gotten high there too. It's rough up top, Bill. It gets a little bit rougher up there. We've seen these trucks spark a little bit. We documented that early in the show. You want your stuff right down on the ground. I don't think Todd suffered any damage in that.
I think they made a little contact. I think Todd had moved to the inside to get by Sean Murphy. Let's see if we can take a look. Watch him coming off turn 4. You see how high Sean Murphy is. He's going to bounce off the wall, and I think there he is. He bounced into Todd, so Todd has definitely some damage on his right front fender.
Sean Murphy flattening the side of the 07. We just talked about how good he was running up front in second position with Todd Bodine just behind him.
Yeah, he needs to get that thing to pit road, Rick. It's damaged. Look how skinny it is and crooked it's running. That's a handful right there. I don't care if you're running 180 or 120. You can see he's using up the whole track just trying to get around the racetrack.
He's got some considerable damage down there.
Ray.
Hey guys, not only did he hit the wall there and maybe have some body damage, but Murphy just came on the radio and says he thinks he may have broken the rear end gear. He said the thing is chattering real bad and hopping around. So maybe the same thing kind of like Sprague, where he's got a bent trailing arm, but definitely he said he feels like the gear is messed up also.
That'd be a good time to bring that truck to pit road then.
I would.
I believe it's a matter of time before he makes that move. Maybe if he falls to the back of the field here. But you got to wonder also, Phil, it's hard to hit. Are the right side tires maybe rubbing on something up underneath the fenders? You know, on the rear end housing, something bent there and get that thing to rubbing. So
that would definitely worry me as hard as he hit the outside wall there. That, you know, you've got tie rods and fender braces and things like that. So there's a lot of things that could cause those tires to be cut down, and then he's going to have a lot more damage.
Kyle Busch has put over 2 seconds between himself and Mike Skinner. The problem is the laps continue to add up. He can only go so many laps. We're at 57 complete, and most Chevrolet drivers said they could go anywhere from 55 to 60 laps on fuel.
As Michael said earlier, the caution laps will help that. They'll get actually probably 2 caution laps for 1 green flag lap. So they don't have that many green flag laps on the fuel load right now. So he may can go as many as 70, maybe even more laps because of all the caution laps we had.
That's 12 laps from now. We've got 57 in the books. Kyle Busch out in front of Mike Skinner, Todd Bodine, David Starr, and Matt Crafton. 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
See, pit stops, caution just out. You see our leader Kyle Busch finally going to come in the pits. Most of the leaders come in. Some of the guys have stayed out. Kyle Busch on the top of your screen, Mike Skinner middle, Todd Bodine on the bottom. Already started his pit work.
Working underneath the 66 of Todd Bodine.
that was from that contact he had with Sean Murphy off turn 4, Rick. Robert Huffman spun off turn 4 just as we were going to break. These cats all come to pit road, and they finally answered the question of when the 15 will pit. He's on pit road, but a lot of cats still have stayed out now, so he'll be marred back in the field, even though they have a respectable stop there. 18 seconds.
See, Mike Skinner gets done with his pit work. 4 tires, 18.5 seconds on his pit work.
Mike Skinner was able to get in front of Kyle Busch on their exit from pit road. We'll be back with more racing. Lowe's Motor Speedway. Welcome back to the Quaker Steak and Lube 200, presented on Speed Channel by Dodge. Out in front, it's Matt Crafton. Now taking the top spot. He stayed out with Johnny Benson, as well as Tony Stewart, now being shown in 3rd.
Wow. This racing is so much fun. You never know what's going to happen next.
As you mentioned, Robert Huffman spun out over in turn 2. That brought out this caution flag. He was able to continue, stayed on the lead lap with 4 fresh tires.
And Matt Crafton and Johnny Benson, Tony Stewart are the 3 trucks that are running 1, 2, 3. Stewart has, like I said earlier, a very, very fast truck.
13 trucks stayed out on this caution flag. Mike Skinner won the race off pit road. He restarted in the 14th position.
Johnny Benson trying to take the lead on the inside. Michael, you talked about it, very difficult to do as he goes down the back or down the quad oval. They're side by side at the start finish line. Matt Crafton still out in front by 13 1/1000ths of a second. Tony Stewart complaining a little bit about a vibration. Wendy, what's going on?
He thinks it's more than just his tires. It may be a drive line, so we'll watch out for Tony Stewart's truck.
Well, you wonder right after a pit stop, Michael. Well, actually, Tony stayed out on this most recent caution flag.
And he's also still laying with them, Phil. He's reduced his speed, but he's still staying in the hunt, trying to diagnose exactly what has happened to that number 47 truck.
You wonder about a loose wheel, even though his pit stop was a few laps ago. You still wonder about a loose wheel. We've seen that so many times this year where people have had loose wheels.
He's bailing out now, Phil. That thing must have got worse, and he decided there wasn't no taking any chances there.
Tony Stewart will come down pit road.
Crashing this thing or tearing it up.
You heard him say he doesn't want to crash the truck or tear it up. Obviously, the vibration was too bad for Tony to continue.
He might have felt as perhaps he used up all his luck in his slide for life through 3 and 4 a minute ago.
Great battle for the lead. Meanwhile, Matt Crafton, the 88 Menard Chevrolet up front. Terry Cook, the Power Stroke Diesel Ford, currently running second. Terry looks to the high side.
Terry Cook's been running very strong up high so far tonight. Matt Crafton trying to hold him off as they come to the start-finish line, and he'll lead that lap as well. Now Terry Cook dicing back and forth, trying to figure out a way around the 88.
We mentioned that Robert Huffman spun out coming off turn number 2. You see him back up to speed right now. Let's see if we can take a look at what happened to cause Robert to spin out. You see he's on the inside of the Ford truck of Timothy Peters. How many times have we seen that where the truck on the inside gets loose? You see him lose a downforce. He gets completely sideways. You see Johnny Benson's going to try to absolutely cannot see a thing, but gets slowed down enough to avoid him.
Tony Stewart slipped by the bottom. Johnny Benson just chilled out, waited to see what was going to happen. A great job by Benson, a good job by Huffman. See the back tire spinning. He never let off the gas.
That's what created here. Great battle for the lead. Terry Cook on the inside of the racetrack.
And here comes Brandon Witt in the 38. It's Terry Cook.
Wow.
Matt Crafton.
Cook's going to complete the pass, Phil. One of the few guys who've been able to pull that off.
Terry Cook, a long-time runner in the Truck Series. This is his 41st start on a mile-and-a-half racetrack. A mile-and-a-half like Charlotte, Atlanta, Texas, Kentucky. Never had a top 5 finish. He's trying to break that string right here in start number 41.
We will have another pit stop. There's 66 laps to go. Out in front, it's Terry Cook, and now Brandon Witt trying to make the move on the inside of Matt Crafton.
It is getting very crowded at the front, and Phil, you have got to tip your hat to that NTN bearing team of Darrell Waltrip Motorsports. Rudeman was in the wall, lap 10 or 15. Here he is raced back into the top 5 with a damaged truck. They went to work on that thing. They've got him competitive.
We're hearing debris on the backstretch is going to bring out a caution. Sure enough, the 7th caution of the night. Rick Crawford's number 14 Ford in for work. Ray.
Well, he had a flat left front tire, guys, and Crawford noticed it, and you notice it actually looks like maybe it's more than that. They're trying to get that tire back on there, but it looks like maybe a problem with the lug studs on that left front tire. So we'll get more update on that, but that's what brought Crawford to pit road.
You see the tremendous damage on the front of that truck. He is the truck that got into Bobby Hamilton on that accident coming off turn 4 when Tony Stewart spun. That's where Bobby Hamilton's rear damage came from, the front of Rick Crawford's truck.
Bobby Hamilton had gotten into the back of Jack Sprague, and so that was the problems with Jack Sprague. And there's the debris you see on the track. And I believe Tony Stewart is standing by with Wendy.
A disappointing night for Tony's birthday. Did it finally give out? Was it the engine? What was it?
I don't know. We had a problem yesterday with this truck, and we couldn't find it. We thought it was a fuel problem because the way that it was surging, but we changed the whole fuel system. We changed all the electrical system, changed the motor before qualifying, and whatever it was, it came back on the 3rd lap and stayed with it, and it was just getting worse there at the end. So I'm almost thinking it's something in the drive line now. I mean, it's kind of it's the biggest mystery in the garage area tonight, what's going on with this truck. But, you know, Randy Goss and all the guys on this 47 team, this Silverado was flying. I mean, if anybody watched us come from the back, I mean, we were getting murdered down the straightaway, and we were killing guys through the corner. I mean, it was awesome through the corners. But whatever it is that's going on, it was getting worse. And versus tearing up a really nice truck right now that's driving good, we're better off just pulled in and try to get this thing back to the shop and get it up in here and find out what's really going on.
You sounded like you were having a blast out there. You had one stunt after another today. You were having fun for sure. Are you coming back to the Truck Series?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love running here. I mean, especially running these guys. And I'm going to run Kevin's truck at Richmond. And, you know, I've driven for Andy Petrie and got a win with Andy and, well, 2 wins with Andy at Richmond. So it's a series I love running. Just, you know, this crew, I wish you could have seen how hard all these guys worked yesterday. They definitely deserved a better shot. And we had our buddies Diamond Rio and Quaker Steak and Lube and Torque. So just wish we could have done better for all of them.
A short night for Tony Stewart, but he'll be back in the Truck Series. Rick?
Well, we had some pit stops taking place there.
We had a truck turned around there. Look at the 50 truck of Todd Cleaver.
He's in his box.
Yeah, he made some contact somehow with the 12 of Robert Huffman, and he's got all 4 wheels in the box, so this is a legal pit stop.
Going to take a little longer than normal, but no penalties.
Going to hurt his track position. You know, that caution came out on lap 69. Richie Waters probably could have stayed out till this caution flag. He probably pitted prematurely.
Looks like maybe Huffman was just getting gas since he had just spun, Phil. And, yeah, there he is, just leaving his pit with gas only. And here comes Cleaver. You got to work with your spotter. And as a driver, you got to watch and know who's around you there and avoid those accidents, because it's dangerous, first of all and foremost, but then also you can damage your truck. You know how sensitive these things are aero-wise in the front end. You bend your fender, you're done for tonight.
Yeah, Robert knows he's coming out early because he's only getting gas, and most of these other fellows are going to change tires, so it's really up to them to try to keep an eye out and make sure he doesn't pull out into somebody like that happen. You see the damage to the right front corner of Robert's Toyota.
Sometimes it's really hard just to sit there, but that's what you have to do. If he knows the 50's coming in 1 or 2 pit stalls ahead of him, he's got to just sit there and wait.
They do a little work on Robert Huffman's Toyota. Terry Cook is out in front. It's the second time he's led this year.
Going to work hard on the front end of that truck. And this 99 has made several pit stops, Phil. Ricky Craven can't get that thing up under him tonight.
Right?
Well, guys, it's been a real mystery for this 99 team all weekend. When they got here, they realized that the way they had this truck set up, it was just dragging the nose way too much. They were going to wear the whole bottom valence off of that. So Mike Beam and the crew went to work on it before qualifying, made all kinds of changes, and Ricky just not happy with it all. They put a couple of turns of wedge in, also moved the track bar on that pit stop. But Ricky has just been saying that he cannot get off the corner, whether it's 2 or 4. He's just having trouble getting off the corner.
Got a brand new truck right there for Ricky Craven. He didn't get a chance to test it. They went to Texas to test, got rained out. So Mike Beam said, I really don't know where I am right now. They changed a lot of stuff, obviously still working on that truck, trying to get it going.
This truck's been extremely fast all year long, so this is a real surprise. Him having the troubles he's having tonight.
Safety crews out trying to get some more debris off of the track. Tomorrow on Speed Channel Live at 11 a.m. it's the Rolex Sports Car Series from Mont Tremblant. Twisting tight and torturous. 6 hours on this track will take all they've got. The Rolex Sports Car Series on Mont Tremblant tomorrow morning at 11. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway for the Quaker Steak and Lube 200 presented on Speed Channel by Dodge. Terry Cook out in front, Steve Park right behind him. David Rudeman involved in an accident early on. He's able to get back out and be pretty competitive, sitting in 3rd.
Kyle Busch all the way back up to 4th. Remember, he's only made 1 pit stop this race.
Does that mean you think he can go the rest of the way?
Well, no, I didn't think he could go as far as he went, so I don't think he can run that far. He would have to run 74 laps from the time he pitted.
60 laps till the end of this race.
Kyle Busch to the inside of David Rudeman. Got a good start there. Makes his way around Rudeman.
Able to clear the pass.
And here comes Park looking on the inside of Terry Cook.
Steve Park, no stranger to victory lane this year. We saw him win what a great run in California to get that first win in the Truck Series.
Side-by-side racing, Mike Skinner on the inside of the Indian Bearings, number 17 of David Rudiman. Wendy, what's going on with David?
Remember, the 17 of David Rudiman was involved in that incident on lap 17. He had a lot of damage to his truck. He did come in and they taped it up and repaired the damage as best as possible, as you can see from the in-car camera. They did last pit on lap 31, so one more pit stop still planned for David Rudiman.
That was a brand new truck for David Rudiman here. The first time out with this truck. Also didn't get to test this truck either, so they've done a great job repairing that truck in order for him to be competitive as he is.
Look how they got they had the rear spoiler wired up to the roll bar. See the wire there? The bungee cords holding the spoiler in the back up.
Is this one of those baling wire and 180-mile-an-hour tape? Oh, problem.
Wow, big crash.
Timothy Peters in the 4 into the wall.
Look at Ted.
Wow, what a great job by Musgrave to avoid the 66 of Todd Bodine.
Well, he's had a lot of practice.
Yeah,
he's avoided 3 wrecks so far.
Yeah. He's probably sitting there saying, try it again, guys. Give me what you got. I'll get it. Wow, big crash for Timothy Peters there. That truck's hit hard.
I also believe the 30 of Chad Chaffin has some serious damage to the front of it.
The 66 of Todd Bodine also has some damage. As you mentioned, there's the 30 of Chad Chaffin. Tremendous amount of damage to the front of that Jermaine Arnold truck.
Boy, if I'm sitting at home watching on speed tonight, I'm thinking to myself, what are they going to do in the next Stell All-Star Challenge with $1 million and no points on the line? These cats are running all over one another. This is what you get when you speed things up. The speeds here, like you said, 27 of these trucks set a new track record in qualifying. Speeds are out of control. Now, they're used to running side by side in Charlotte. They go down the corner, they say, we can do this. We can run side by side here. They forget they're going 4 or 5 mile an hour faster. And 4 or 5 mile an hour, when you're teetering on the edge of control anyway, can be disastrous, and that's what we're seeing.
Let's look at how this carnage came to be.
You remember when we started this telecast and said I didn't like the new track here at Lowe's?
You did say that.
I said that, and this is why.
There's the 66 of Todd Bodine gets loose on the inside of the 4. Timothy Peters has to chase the truck up the hill, makes some contact, puts both of those trucks in the wall. The 30 of Chad Chaffin comes along nowhere. Watch Ted Musgrave. Watch the 1 truck avoid the 66 of Todd Bodine.
That's just experience and being smart. He did not want to get on the brakes too hard. He knew he had to drive his way through this crash, and that's exactly what he did. Todd Bodine, an experienced driver, right in the inside wall went Peters. You would think that Todd Bodine wouldn't put himself in a position like he did there, getting under a guy and turning the thing sideways, entering the corner, but that's what happened.
Here they come to pit road. Wendy?
Our leader, Terry Cook, is in for 4 tires and fuel. They are making an air pressure adjustment, a little air in the right rear. You know, that was the first time Terry Cook has led since Daytona of this year. As they take off the tear up, let's check in with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Wendy. Kyle Busch's pit stop is underway. Now, this set of tires is stickers that they're putting on, but these tires will be just a little bit freer. So they went down 1 pound of air in the left rear, and Kyle Busch is away.
Kyle Busch out just in front of Terry Cook. He also makes it out in front of Steve Park.
We're on lap 79 right now. I think most of these trucks that have stopped right now, if not all of them, can make it the rest of the way.
Especially with as many cautions, Phil. Guys will want to just stay out.
Mike Skinner out in front of Ron Hornaday, veteran and twosome in front of this field. Fantasy Cup All-Star One Race Challenge. Play the official fantasy games of Speed Channel. Your shot at winning $10,000. Starting May 21st, it's the Fantasy Cup All-Star One Race Challenge. Sign up, select 8 drivers, score points, and win one of 300 prizes, including $10,000. Log on to speedtv.com now for the official rules and play Fantasy Cup All-Star One Race Challenge. Deadline, that's Saturday night.
A couple trucks making their way to pit road. There's a 30 that's missing his pit. The 12 of Robert Huffman and the 75 of David Starr probably in for the last time. They should be able to make it the rest of the way. We have some of the teams that elected to stay out on this caution flag that I think will have to make another pit stop, and then they will lose a track position we've talked about, Michael.
And you know, when you have repeated cautions like we've seen here tonight, Phil, you want to make your last pit stop, especially with tires that don't fall off like we have here at Charlotte with the new surface. We saw Kyle Busch leading the race on old tires and driving away. So the crew chiefs are down on pit road trying to figure out pit as soon as you can and make it all the way, because with caution after caution, not putting laps on the tires, getting better gas mileage, let's get our pitting done as quick as we can. Richie Waters ran forever on his first set of tires, and now he's already pitted again for the second time, showing you that he doesn't care about how many laps are on his tires. He's ready to get to pit road, get gas, and be set for the finish.
Extensive work being done on the 30 of Chad Chaffin. This is his second time in. Look at the first time in. All the damage that was done here. Was crew guy's going to take it upon himself to get that hood down.
Well, you got to like that. That's just being proactive.
We're under our 8th caution at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Is Richie Waters going to be the smartest crew chief tonight? We'll find out. Speed Channel presents the Speed Bookstore. Now, motorsports fans, you've got a bookstore all your own. Thousands of titles covering everything from racing to repair. You can browse the titles and buy online by going to speedtvbooks.com. Speed Bookstore. Speed reading, gearheads. Field coming through turns 3 and 4. Mike Skinner out in front. Talked with Jeff Hensley today. They tested at Chicago. They did not test here at Lowe's when they had the open test. They tested at Chicago, went to the wind tunnel, tried to get this truck as good as possible, and I think they did when they qualified on the pole.
You got Skinner and Hornaday 1-2, but what about Kelly Sutton, Bill Lester, and Brad Keselowski running 3 through 5? Those trucks haven't been up front a whole lot this year. It'll be interesting to see if they can take advantage of being up front on the start here. Man, Brandon Witt looked like, to me, he went too soon. That truck run around the outside of Keselowski before it looked like the green come out. We'll see what they think about that next door NASCAR control.
Wendy, what's going on with Bill Lester?
They are done pitting the 22 of Bill Lester. I talked to them on that last caution. They did pit on lap 71. He was a little bit loose, so they made a slight adjustment on the 22 truck, but no more pit stops for Bill Lester.
Bill Lester trying to improve on his career best 10th finish.
He's done that a couple times in his career. Looks to the inside of Ron Hornaday. We heard Ron Hornaday earlier in this race. It sounded like his motor had gone sour, but he seems to be able to maintain a pretty good speed.
We touched earlier on the most exciting moments in the NASCAR history, in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
I do believe that 6 got a motor problem, though, Phil. He's just getting yarded. Ray, has he got something wrong under the hood?
He's not exactly sure, Michael. He says sometimes it misses on the restarts and sometimes it bogs a little bit in the corner. But he said he's going to try to make the thing work a little bit better by going to the high side. Of course, right now, what's he do? He goes right down to the bottom. But he said he was going to try the Bobby Hamilton groove and run her up high and see if that lets the motor free up a little bit.
There's a guy behind him that isn't shy about going to the high side. And right now, Brendan Gaughan has driven on the outside of Hornaday.
It's great to see Brendan have a good run here. He has really struggled, missed a couple races here with us essentially a new team. Got a great run going right now, moved up into the top 5.
Almost missed this show in qualifying, and now he's raced to the top 5, so that is good to see. Brendan likes to ring around the top, and he's at a place here tonight that that pays off.
You'd know that as well, Michael, as somebody who likes to get a little closer to the ball.
Find that sweet spot.
That 6 truck is definitely off tonight. He's not running like you see. He's 3 wide right now on the front straightaway. Look at that.
Being split on both sides. Terry Cook on the outside. Dennis Setzer on the inside.
We saw Setzer at the beginning of the race too, Phil, repeatedly pitting that truck, trying to get it better and better. And it looks like maybe now he's got it rolling pretty good.
See, Ricky, there's Dennis Setzer right there. He made a number of pit stops. Ricky Craven, the 99 Super Chip Sport, another truck that made a number of pit stops, trying to get the handle better on that truck.
Ricky Craven being shown in 10th, and we go 3 wide again as they come across the quad oval.
Man, it gets crowded, doesn't it?
There's the 15 of Kyle Busch, led so much of this race. Should be done pitting right now.
They're all working their way around Hornaday.
Ron's truck is definitely crippled somewhat here. It's not completely off the pace, but it's not quite what he had early on.
Michael Michael, you had mentioned earlier the bump in 2 a little bit higher. And actually in your qualifying run, when you were qualifying for the All-Star Challenge, you hit that and slid up the track. It was a great save. Is that going to come into play a little bit later in this race when we find out if that's the high line that's able to pass on this track?
Well, the bumps are still out there. They are toned down somewhat, but you can get yourself in a bind in 2 or 3 places on this racetrack, whether it be turn 2 like we saw earlier or off turn 4 as well. So it just depends. If a guy's leading the race and he's able to run around the middle of the racetrack, I don't think you can get under him and pass him, because of the fact it's so hard to do the job under there. You might be forced to go up top and try to get it done at least.
And when that happened to you qualifying, that's with your maximum downforce. You have all the tape on the front end, so that's going to really accentuate the situation more so than these drivers that are out here in race trim.
Well, we didn't have a very good practice either, so we really radically changed the Napa Chevy for qualifying, and so I didn't really know what to expect. These guys are now to a point with their trucks. They've hit every bump out there, Rick. They know where they all are, and they know what they're going to do to their trucks. So it might be a point in time where you just have to throw caution to the wind, hit a bump harder than you want to, and hope it sticks to get the win. But they know what's going on at least.
Mike Skinner's put a 1.5 seconds between himself and Bill Lester. You can hardly see Bill Lester looking back off of Mike Skinner's truck.
Brandon Witt is side by side right now with Bill Lester for the 2nd position. Brandon on the inside, Bill Lester on the outside.
Great battle for 2nd. Bill Lester holding on to the position. Brandon Witt tucks back in behind him. Johnny Benson getting into the mix in 4th. Wendy?
Brandon's Witt prior best career finish was 15th at Atlanta, and it came earlier this season. So Brandon Witt having a great night running in 2nd. He pit on lap 70 with all the other leaders. They are done pitting for the night. They made no adjustments to this truck all day. Brandon Witt says it's a great truck.
Terry Cook going by him on the outside. Brandon Witt drops back to 5th position.
He was alongside for 2nd. Now he's running 5th. That just shows you how tough of a job it is to get it done on the bottom.
Remember, Johnny Benson, the 23 truck, had to start all the way at the back of the field for unapproved adjustments. These trucks are impounded after qualifying. These drivers or teams are only allowed to make certain small adjustments. Obviously, NASCAR felt that Johnny and his team made more adjustments than they wanted them to. He had to start at the back of the pack, and he's worked his way all the way back up into 3rd.
Mike Skinner out in front, 3 seconds. Now the difference between himself and 2nd place Bill Lester. We'll see if Mike Skinner can hold on and win for Toyota in Charlotte. The continuing research and development of Toyota in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has been exciting to watch. We take a closer look in this week's Toyota Spotlight. Mike Skinner out in front, Benson, Witt, Lester top 6.
Rick, what a departure from last week. At Mansfield, Toyota's top finisher was Todd Bodine in 16th. That is incredible, but they really have rebounded extremely well here.
You got to feel like here a good truck will make up some difference. You know, if you're at a place like Lowe's Motor Speedway, high speed, you need good aero, you need a strong engine. When you go to a place like Mansfield, it's car wrestling or truck wrestling, as y'all watched last week. You're just trying to get your driver to give the report to the crew as to how to get the chassis right so it'll handle on them tight turns. You come to a place like Charlotte, you better have something under the hood and some good aero. Toyota's showing they got both of those here tonight.
Kyle Busch was able to get by Johnny Benson, so Busch taking over 3rd from Johnny Benson. Terry Cook holding on to 2nd, trying to close the gap from Mike Skinner, and he's done a little bit. He's down to 2.5 seconds down.
Michael, I'm liking Richie Waters' strategy right now. How about you?
I don't know what to say about that, Phil. I know that I'm happy if I've got enough gas to get to the finish right now, because we see this a lot of times. We get a ton of cautions early, then all of a sudden things change and you're on a lot under green. So once they could make it to the finish for sure, come to pit road and get my gas and get me to the finish, whether it's because we go green or whether it's because there's caution after caution, you know, get my pitting done as soon as I can so I can get that all-important track position.
Our leader, Mike Skinner, last pitted on lap 60. That would leave him 74 laps to go to the end of this race. I think that would be unheard of. We have not had that many caution flags in this segment of the race like we did early on. Ray, what's going on down there?
Well, Phil, 2 important things. Number 1, I talked to his crew chief, Jeff Hensley, and I said, how short are you? He said, right now, only about 3 laps. I said, you mean 23, right? He said, no, only 3. So we need a little bit of caution and we can make it. But keep in mind, Skinner and this team went to test at Chicago. They had an engine in the truck that was okay, but Skinner said he just didn't feel like it was everything he needed. So they put the engine in that he's running tonight, and he picked up 4.5 tenths while they were testing. He said, man, this baby is some smoke. So they knew this is the one they wanted to bring here tonight to Lowe's Motor Speedway. Wendy?
Terry Cook runs second in a brand new truck, chassis number 8 for Terry Cook. Now the best he's ever run at Charlotte is 14th. In 2003, 2004, he finished 14th both of those times. And the last time Terry Cook went to victory lane, it was 2002 at IRP, 64 races ago. Ray?
Wendy, Kyle Busch was very, very fast when they tested here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Now, it was a very short test because we got rain that night. But when he was in this 15 truck, Richie Waters said a number of laps in a row, he ran 29.40s, and that's extremely fast. He was very, very consistent, too, and he's been just that same thing tonight. Like I told you, this set of tires was just a little bit freer than what they had, so they fixed that with air pressure. Wendy?
The 23 of Johnny Benson runs fourth. The 23 and the 22 of Bill Lester are both in brand new chassis for those Toyota trucks tonight. They're about on the same pit strategy. The last time they pit was 71. A little bit of tight, a little bit of loose conditions for Johnny Benson tonight. They put those last round of tires on and made a slight air pressure adjustment. When Bill Lester was in on lap 71, his truck was the opposite of his teammates Johnny Benson. So a little bit of to tighten it up, the adjustments on Bill Lester's truck, but he is also done for the night. Let's check in with Ray.
Well, let's look back at Ted Musgrave, Wendy, because that Mopar Dodge came in early and they didn't put tires on it. The first time they pitted, it was fuel only. So they decided to put tires the last time Ted came down pit road. Now realize at St. Louis, he dominated, led almost all the laps, and so far this year, he's the only driver to have won the race by leading the most laps in an event.
There's a 38 at Brandon Witt. He's currently being shown in the 7th position. That would be a career best for him. His best finish last year at Martinsville, the second race, he finished 14th. A terrific job. He had a great run going last week at Mansfield. Cut a tire down, made some contact with the wall, but looked like he was going to be his best career finish last week.
Steve Park just drove around his truck owner, Brendan Gaughan. He's now up to the 8th position, dropping Brendan back tonight. Steve won on a track not a whole lot different than this place, Phil, so it's not a surprise to see Steve running as well as he is, but right now he's one of the fastest trucks on the track. He's closed quickly on this battle for a position in the top 5.
And there's his teammate, the yellow truck, just out of your picture for a moment. Brendan Gaughan, an 8-time winner in the Craftsman's Truck Series, came oh so close to winning the championship a couple years ago. Lost it on the very last race, but got a new crew chief. Rambo is Tony Liberati is his crew chief now. Bill Wilburn went on over to Dale Jarrett's Nextel Cup team, but they seem to have their act together now. As you mentioned, Michael barely made it into the race, but got a great run going in the top 10.
Clayton Rogers is a veteran of the Hooters Cup Series. He races stock cars on the short tracks around the Southeast in the Hooters Cup and runs really well, wins those races. This truck that he's running tonight, one of his first starts ever, and he's out here running the first start he's ever had at a track this size, and he's out there running in the top 10.
Well, we talk about this being the backyard of a lot of the teams. Well, it's the backyard of Clayton Rogers. He's from Mooresville, North Carolina, where most of these teams are based at.
23 laps to go, 23 laps to go, Bob.
And remember, we saw him have trouble earlier. It looked like a lug nut jammed in between his wheel and his caliper. It cut down his left front tire, but he's been able to rebound from that. Got a great top 10 run going.
There's Steve Park. He makes his way around Brandon Witt and Bill Lester. He's now up to the 6th position, Bill.
And driving away, he's got a great truck. He's able to run right on the bottom of the racetrack, making some good time.
22 laps to go. He's got a lot of distance to make up between himself, Ted Musgrave, Johnny Benson. Terry Cook is 3rd, Kyle Busch 2nd, and Mike Skinner still out in front of this field. But can he go all the way on fuel? That is the big question. We'll answer it when we come back. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Quaker Steak and Lube 200 presented on Speed Channel by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And by new Mobil 1 Extended Performance, official motor oil of NASCAR. You see the yellow flag just up above on the top of your screen, and the reason for that, our leader, Mike Skinner, on pit road.
Let's see if we can take a look at what happened to Mike Skinner. What a terrific run going. Watch him driving in turn number 3 there. That's the 29 of Brad Keselowski. Skinner, you see him move up the racetrack ever so slightly, maybe about 2 or 3 feet, but the 29 of Brad Keselowski was there. And then this is obviously the carnage that resulted because of that.
Just wasn't able to hold the truck down, Phil, as he entered turn 3. I don't know if he was going to try to work his way up on the outside of the 50 there, but it just looked like you said that Skinner moved up the hill a little bit, made contact with the 29, and that was all she wrote.
Is that impatience? I mean, he had a big lead, and he was coming into traffic. Is that a time when you let up a little bit and negotiate, or do you ever let up?
I hate to judge what he was thinking or what went into that right there. I'd like to ask Mike what exactly happened, because it just looked like maybe the truck didn't stick as well as he thought it was. Does it come down to being impatient, Rick? Maybe so. Maybe he should have rolled in there and made sure that he could keep the truck low under the 29, and he could also monitor what the 50 was doing without getting in a bind. Ultimately, he's the leader. He can't be making a mistake leading the race like that. But what all led into it, that man right there is the only one that knows.
Ray?
Oh, guys, we don't need to talk to Mike, because he just came over the radio and told the crew. He said, that's all my fault, driver error, my mistake, sorry. And Jeff Hensley said the important thing is everybody knows we were here tonight, and eventually we're all going to make a mistake once in a while. Keep our heads up and let's move on. But Skinner admitting to his crew that he just made a driver error.
They had a lot of issues there he was dealing with, too. Kyle Busch had moved around Terry Cook and was coming. He didn't know for sure if he could make it on gas or not. A lot of stuff going on in Skinner's head right there. A dominant truck, though, up to that point late in the race, and I know he's disappointed.
He'll obviously be able to walk away with a track record. Sat on the pole tonight, but to no avail. He will make his way into the garage, and they will park the number 5 Toyota.
They really struggled early on in the season, but they got a couple top 10s in a row going prior to the race at Mansfield. Finished 9th at Martinsville and 4th at St. Louis. So he and Jeff Hensley are going to get this thing going. They were so good tonight, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that team being as good as they were tonight.
With the number 5 of Mike Skinner making his way into the garage, another driver who's led laps so far tonight, and who a couple guys up in the booth had questioned early on the strategy that they were using.
No, we like his strategy.
It's now in front. It's Kyle Busch.
Well, let's talk to him. Let's see if this radio will work. I'd like to see what he's thinking. It's not one to go or anything. Kyle Busch. It's Michael Waltrip up in the speed booth. You're leading the race here at Lowe's. Can you talk to us?
Sure thing there, Mikey Waltrip.
1-800-DIETECH-1. Number 15 truck of Richie Waters. We were all up here in the booth scratching our head about you not pitting early in the going. But it looks like y'all had a pretty good plan, huh?
I don't know if that plan was planned, but it's definitely turned out the best for us. You know, this DIETECH.com Chevrolet pickup truck here with Billy Blue Motorsports and Richie Waters, the crew chief. Guys have done an awesome job all day long. We've been good in pits, and everything's just kind of going along our way. Hopefully these last 15 laps or so can do the same thing. But really want to thank DIETECH and Mr. Hendrick and everybody else that's given me this opportunity here to run this Billy Blue Chevrolet truck.
Well, I like the way you're looking right now. No more trips to pit road. You're leading the race. It's one to go. Good luck. They said in 2001 you almost won a truck race. I didn't even know you had your license back then. So let's make it official tonight.
All right, we look forward to doing that. And yeah, it was a lot of fun back in 2001. I was just 16, still in high school, running these trucks and having a good old time with them and racing with Ricky Hendrick and everybody else out there. So we'll see what we can do. Let's finish it up.
All right, have fun tonight too.
Thanks, guys.
He's in good shape. What about the first time he ever came here? He ran second
in the Busch race, yeah.
Right?
And then came back the next year and won a race.
Won.
Yeah.
So this place suits his driving style. But Richmond did last week too. As did California, where he finished, was that Vegas? Vegas, he ran second.
Vegas, he finished second.
How about the parity in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series right now? We've got a Chevy out in front of a Ford, just in front of a Toyota, who's just in front of a Dodge.
I like that a lot. That's what, as racers, that's what you want, Rick. You want to throw the manufacturing question out the window. Get your best stuff on the track and beat the other guys heads up. And that's what's happening right here tonight for Kyle Busch. Right now, he's in control. And he's got the other manufacturers breathing on his heels.
He knows how to run around a 1.5 mile track. It's Kyle Busch out in front taking green flag from Dennis James, and we're back to racing.
Only 14 laps to go. Terry Cook's been very fast, but on that long run that we just finished up.
Oh, problems. Clay Rogers in the 44 gets into the wall.
Got tied up with a 59 truck of Robert Presley. See the damage to the left front of the truck, and we know he made some contact with the outside wall.
No caution has come out. Ron Hornaday up behind him. David Ruderman getting past him as well.
There's Presley, the truck he got wadded up with that he's passing now. Must have got Presley into the wall too. Look at Ted Musgrave, Phil.
Going for third on Johnny Benson. This was another one of the trucks that everyone in the garage area said was awfully good in practice.
If he completes this move, which he does with ease, look for him to go up there and challenge these leaders.
Got Steve Park right behind the 23 truck of Johnny Benson. We know he's got a good truck also.
12 to go. Johnny Benson currently in 4th position. Wendy?
What an amazing night for Johnny Benson. You know, he had to start in the back of the pack because of unapproved changes before the race. And what those changes were, well, he got a little loose during his qualifying run, had some damage on his truck. The crew fixed it last night, so that's why Johnny Benson had to start deep in the field. Now, Johnny has over 20 starts at Lowe's Motor Speedway between the Cup Series and Busch, but never a start in the Truck Series. And his best finish yet in a truck is second at Texas in 2004.
Johnny Benson holding on to the 4th spot. Up in front of him is Ted Musgrave trying to reel in Terry Cook, who's holding on to second. Now, we talked about this early on. Ultra Motorsports and Roush Racing are tied for the most wins in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Ted Musgrave would like to break that tie tonight.
He's not even thinking a little bit about that right now, Rick. He's just focused on those 2 trucks ahead of him. Terry Cook, a great run in that Ford, and he's thinking he needs to get around those 2 and get that Dodge to victory lane.
Terry finished 3rd last year at Mansfield. That's his best finish in the last year and a half. What a terrific job this guy is doing in this race tonight with a Power Stroke diesel Ford.
We talked about him struggling on 1.5 mile tracks. Well, he's running awfully good right now.
It looks like maybe a career best for Terry Cook if he can keep it going and stay somewhere in contact with the leaders here. Ray, what's going on down there?
Oh, hey, Phil, you guys talked at the top of the show how the 15 truck had the same one that Shane Meal won with. And, of course, Terry Cook has a new truck tonight. But how about Ted Musgrave? Musgrave is driving chassis number 39, and that's the truck they used at Daytona this year. I was a little bit surprised whenever they brought this one in, but I talked to Gene Need, his crew chief, and he said, look, every week we've got to bring the best piece we can and be ready to go and fight as hard as we can. He said we felt like this truck was really good aero-wise, and it'll be good here tonight. It is definitely a different truck, though, than Musgrave used to win here a couple of years ago. It was brand new in Daytona, and it's chassis 39.
Tough spot right there for Ted Musgrave, because we've talked about how they get loose on the inside of trucks when they're going through 1 and 2.
We saw the veteran that Ted Musgrave is. He backed off in the center. He was getting a little bit loose. He had a great run going through the center the previous corner. That's what got him up beside him. You see the graphic. Ultra Motorsports, Roush Racing, 36 wins apiece.
That one truck is just so much faster than Terry Cook right now through the center of the corner. Terry's holding him up. It's allowing Kyle Busch to drive away. I think if Ted can get around Terry, which is going to be a day's work, if he can get that move done, he can go catch Kyle. Oh, look at Terry get loose off 2.
Not going to be quite enough to open the door for Ted Musgrave. Wendy, what's going on with Terry Cook's pit?
It's been pretty quiet on Terry Cook's radio, but looking at that graphic just a second ago, as much as Ultra Motorsports wants a win, so does PPC Racing. The last time PPC Racing has been to victory lane was in 2003 with Jason Keller, and it's also been 64 races since Terry Cook's last victory at IRP in 2002. So a lot of determination here in the 10 pit tonight.
This battle for second is making Kyle Busch very happy right now. They're side by side down the backstretch. Ted Musgrave tries to take second away from Terry Cook.
Still out there.
Oh, shoot, he just can't clear him. Ted might need, Phil, to try him on the outside.
5
See if he can't get around the outside of Terry Cook and then pursue Kyle. He keeps trying the inside, but he just can't do the job. There he is again to the inside.
Got a great run going, but see if he can get enough in front of Terry to move up the racetrack and get Terry out of the throttle. He can't quite do it.
Here, getting out of the throttle.
Oh, but look at Terry squeezing him down. That's going to make Musgrave awful loose.
While all this is going on, Kyle Busch keeps moving ahead. Oh, and problems. The 38 of Brandon Witt into the wall.
That's such a terrific run going. He was being shown in the 7th position, just inside of 5 laps to go, and unfortunately his day is going to end against the outside wall.
Well, unless the safety crews do a miraculous job, it looks as though we may have a green-white checkered finish tonight.
That's basically what it's going to amount to, whether it's overtime or not. Just a few laps left.
A record 10 cautions in Charlotte. Ray?
Well, Michael, it's my favorite time of the night to give you some green-white checkered stats because we run one in about every 5 races here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Tonight will be the 50th time that we go green-white checkered in 248 races. So who will be the favorite up front there? Well, Kyle Busch has never been in first or second in a green-white checker. Now, his brother Kurt actually has done that 2 times, but Kyle has never. Terry Cook, he's had a couple, but how about Ted Musgrave? Ted Musgrave may be the guy if we're going to try to rely on a green-white checkered here, because Musgrave has been in 4 of them, and in those 4, he's come out victorious 3 times.
Those are good stats, Ray. If Ted could have cleared Terry Cook prior to the caution coming out, he would look pretty good in this one too, because his truck's very fast. But Terry was able to keep his truck just ahead of Musgrave.
And he would stand the best shot right on the restart too. That's when the leader would be the most vulnerable. He's got an opportunity to spin his tires, maybe not get them cleaned off, but unfortunately he did not clear Terry Cook, so he's going to have to get by both of them.
Well, today's NASCAR Day, an annual celebration of the NASCAR spirit where fans, corporations, schools, and organizations across the country may wear their NASCAR apparel to work or school. A $5 donation helps 3 great NASCAR causes: Victory Junction Gang Camp, Speediatrics, and Speedway Children's Charities. Let's go down and find out what's going on with the 10 team. Wendy?
The 15 truck probably didn't want to see that caution, but the 10 truck actually clapped when that caution came out, giving them one more chance to get a little bit closer to Kyle Busch. I heard Terry Cook say the truck's getting a little tight. Do you think he'll have enough to get around Kyle?
Yeah, I think Terry will. Power stroke diesel Ford, been good all night. And, you know, Terry's a veteran. He knows what he's got to do here, and he'll get the job done for us.
Good luck on the green-white checkered. Ray, who do you have on your end?
Well, Wendy, I'm with Richie Waters, crew chief on that 15. Anything that you've got advice for your driver, or is it all in his hands now?
It's pretty much all in his hands right now. This Dytek Chevrolet's run good all night, and Kyle's done a heck of a job. We've had a good truck. You know, we got 2 KG veterans behind us there, so we'll see what we can do. Just got to get a good, clean restart.
Did you remind him about last time at Mansfield and where the restart is?
No, I didn't say nothing to him. He knows what he's doing. You know, our deal here was to pit later than everybody. They came way too early to get tires, I think, so that's why we stayed out, just to prove the booth wrong tonight.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I wanted to make sure you got that in there. Thank you, Richie. Richie Waters, crew chief on that number 15. And guys, once again, this is the chassis number 11 that's already won once. Shane Meal drove it to victory lane last year at Vegas.
Remember, Ray, we're converts, though. We totally agree with Richie now, don't we, Michael?
Yeah, and if your only goal is to try to make us look bad, you've got a pretty easy night's work going for you.
I think Ray may have set him up a little bit on that, helped him out.
We did know that he wasn't going to need to save any tires. We at least had that covered, right, Phil?
Exactly.
He pitted the first time on lap 60-something, the second time on lap 70. You know, and the one on lap 70 is the one that's got him in the track position that he's in now. So when we were talking to Kyle, he said he didn't really ever know what the plan was either. so between Richie Waters and Kyle Busch and me and you, I'm not sure there ever was really a plan.
He's going to have two laps to hold the lead here and get the second win for Billy Ballou Motorsports.
And another great run for Terry Cook. We can't hit that enough. He's had a lot of struggles with mile-and-a-half tracks. A guy who hasn't had struggles with mile-and-a-half tracks is Dennis Setzer. But Terry Cook going to have his best ever finish at a mile-and-a-half track if he's able to hold on to even second.
There's a whole lot of feel-good stories in that top 10 or 15, Rick. You've got Terry Cook up there battling for the win. Steve Park in the top 5. Bill Lester, a great day for him in the 22 truck. Setzer was on the pit road repeatedly early trying to get that truck right. They've got it right now. Also, you got Brendan Gaughan making his best run of the year. Chase Montgomery, who else, Phil?
What a terrific job. Chase Montgomery could be his career first top 10 finish. Matt Craftman, a good run going. And Ricky Craven, currently being shown 11th. He made probably more pit stops than Dennis Setzer did.
It's all about persistence, and these guys worked on their trucks hard early, and it's put them in a position to score a top 10 here late.
Lights are out on the pace truck. This time, Randy Kaiser will bring it down pit road. Kyle Busch has to hold off Terry Cook for 2 laps. Dennis James will show him the green flag. When they come into the quad oval, Kyle Busch will get onto the gas, and there we go. 2 laps of racing to go at Lube Motor Speedway.
He spun the wheels just a little bit. You saw his truck wiggle, but not enough to allow Terry Cook to get beside him.
Terry Cook so close so he can taste victory, Phil. He slides up the track, Kyle Busch does. Terry keeps his truck low, but Kyle maintains the momentum.
Here comes Ted Musgrave. Musgrave trying to make the move on Terry Cook. He gets right up behind him as they go through 3 and 4. It's Kyle Busch, Terry Cook, Ted Musgrave coming out of 4.
White flag, one more lap.
They're all in line. It's hard to pass on the bottom when they've got their tires locked to the white line. Ted Musgrave right up behind Terry Cook. Kyle Busch slides up to the wall as they go down the backstretch.
Ted Musgrave tried to make Terry Cook loose down there in that end of the corner. Was not able to make it happen.
Here comes Kyle Busch looking for his first ever win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. As he comes out of turn number 4, across the start-finish line, Kyle Busch will win.
Oh, Steve Park and Johnny Benson side by side for 4th place.
What a terrific job by Richie Waters, Kyle Busch, that entire Billy Ballou team. Their second win as a team. They won Las Vegas with Shane Meal last year. What a great job by Kyle Busch. Remember, we haven't seen him in a truck since he was 16. Well, we saw him at IRP last year, had a good run going close to a top 10 finish. But remember, he first started his NASCAR career when he was 16 years old, driving for Jack Roush.
What a great run. What a great job he did with that truck.
10-4, guys. That was awesome. Way to get it done, Richie. That's payback right there for the day I tore up both of your stuff.
Communications between our winner Kyle Busch and his crew chief Richie Waters. Now he comes down in front of the grandstands to celebrate his first ever win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in just his 8th start. A young Kyle Busch.
How do you like your donuts, Rick?
Well done.
He's having a good time right now.
Oh, yeah, it's time to have a good time.
Kyle Busch becoming the 51st different driver to win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
How about Terry Cook? First ever top 5 on a mile-and-a-half racetrack in his 41st attempt. What a terrific job by Terry Cook and that entire PPC team.
I think we need to back down the list a little bit, too, to Bill Lester. A great run for Bill Lester today in that 22 Toyota.
Yeah, 10th, his best career finish coming into this race. A terrific, strong 6th place run.
Tonight's Mobil 1 move of the race is brought to you by Mobil 1 Extended Performance, official motor oil of NASCAR. Here he comes to the start-finish line. Kyle Busch. His move was holding off the 10 of Terry Cook. and the one of Ted Musgrave. Two veterans behind him, but the young man, Kyle Busch, able to claim his top or his first win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. That's the third win for Chevrolet this year, and Kyle Busch at the wheel. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman. Ray?
Kyle Busch on May 2nd turned 20 years old, and now he will go into the record books in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series as the youngest winner ever. And tonight it was all about confidence, man. Right from the beginning of this race, you knew you had a good enough truck to do it.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the Ditech.com Chevrolet with Billy Blue Motorsports and Richie Waters was awesome tonight. I can't thank these guys enough, and Richie and Billy, for believing in me and letting me drive this piece. It was unbelievable. But, you know, Terry Cook and Mike Skinner and all the rest of them boys that rounded out the field, you know, they did an awesome job too. And I saw Mike getting a little bit of trouble there, but it's fun racing these trucks. And, you know, I think Ricky Hendrick wouldn't mind anybody else beating his record but me. So I'm proud of that, and hopefully we can keep it for a long time. And now tomorrow night, all I got to go do is do the same thing in the 20 and then the 10 lapper and then get into the big show. So we're looking forward to that, hopefully tomorrow.
And you've got a couple more opportunities in this truck yet this year, right?
We're working on it. We're seeing what we can do. I bet you I just won my ride for Dover next weekend, but other than that, I think Michigan's our final one, but I don't know. Maybe Richie wants me for more of them, and Billy as well. So, again, I want to thank Ditech.com. You know, 1-800-DITECH-1. It's an awesome feeling to come back out here again. You know, I won in an ARCA series and never won in an ARCA series here, but it's good to come out with a truck victory. I got a Busch victory, now I need a Cup victory.
Now, listen, you've got the youngest pole sitter ever in the Busch Series, Cup Series, a win here, win Busch. I mean, all those things. Can you even imagine what it's like at your age to have done all that you've done?
Well, if I would have won the pole yesterday, I would have gotten a $10,000 bonus, and I probably would have been the youngest driver to win in all three NASCAR Touring Series. But, you know, again, maybe we got another shot for it in 2 weeks, I guess it is, Dover. So next week we got the 600. Tomorrow night we still have to win the All-Star Open to get into the big show, so we can do it hopefully.
All right, good luck. Kyle Busch in Victory Lane here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Now let's check in with Wendy Venerini.
Thanks, Ray. It was 1 year ago that Terry Cook had his last top 5 at Mansfield. Last year, you finished 3rd. It must feel great to not only get that top 5, to be chomping at the bit for a win tonight.
Boy, it sure was. You know, the Power Stroke Diesel by International Ford was just awesome, right? My God, everything was good. The guys told me at Fontana, the motor shop, the Roush Yates guys, when we get to Charlotte, we're going to have something for them, and boy, they sure did. First brand new truck. Everything we've had to this date, it's been stuff we were built from last year. This is our first brand new truck, so man, I just can't wait to get into the next truck in the next race.
Your truck, was it a little too tight? I know you were battling with Ted Musgrave. Was it a little too tight to get around Kyle Busch then?
It was. We were running Kyle down, or excuse me, I guess it was at that time Mike Skinner at a pretty high rate of speed, and Kyle was slowly running us down, and the truck just got real tight. We were having problems getting it right through the center. I finally had to start lifting up. Until then, we were almost wide open around this place. So when it started tightening up, I had to kind of protect the bottom, and unfortunately, I couldn't race Kyle as hard as I wanted to, trying to at least run second.
A little bit of a morale booster for Terry Cook and the PPC Racing team. Rick?
Well, Chevy congratulates Kyle Busch and the number 15 Chevy Silverado on today's big win. No trucks dominated the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series like the Chevy Silverado. Chevy, the winningest name in racing, an American Revolution. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years top of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Beautiful night for racing. They thought that rain might come in and spoil our night, but nothing could spoil the night for Kyle Busch, the new youngest winner in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He puts his name on top of the unofficial results.
Some good feel-good stories there. Terry Cook, we talked about him. Ted Musgrave, another good run. Johnny Benson back into the top 5. Steve Parker, top 5. And a career best for Bill Luster. And Ricky Craven got back into the top 10 right at the end of the race.
That was an amazing job on pit road getting that thing tuned up. As for Rudiman as well, where he had his whole back end tore off, still finished in the top 20 in Darrell's truck there. Guys here, Bobby Hamilton looked like he could win this race, got involved in a crash.
How about Mike Skinner back in a 26th position? What a terrific run he had going. Won the pole with a new track record. led a bunch of this race and unfortunately made some contact with Brad Keselowski and ended up out of the race.
Take a look at the point standings now after this race. Remember, coming into this, Bobby Hamilton was out in front. Now it's Ted Musgrave up on top of the points, switching positions with Bobby Hamilton. Ricky Craven holding on to third. Jimmy Spencer still in the fourth spot. Kyle Busch celebrating in victory lane at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Welcome back to continuing coverage of the Quaker Steak and Lube 200 presented on Speed Channel by Dodge. Let's go down to Wendy.
The track is emptying out here, but our third and fourth place finishers are kind enough to hang out with us. Ted Musgrave, first of all, you had a heck of a truck, but you never got around Terry Cook. What was it? Did you think your truck was not strong enough?
Oh, it's strong enough. I just needed racing room through 3 and 4. I'd go to the low side, he block low. I go to the high side, he block high. But he's a good racer. He just needed a little momentum on his side. But our truck was great. If I could have got by, I might have been able to get to 15. Because when they made that last adjustment, you needed them guys. That thing was awesome. But like I say, track position means a lot here at Charlotte.
Ted Musgrave takes home the third place finish, our previous winner here at Charlotte. Johnny, I thought the Toyotas were going to be the ones to beat tonight, but still a fourth place is pretty respectable.
It sure is. You know, I hated that for Mike Skinner. He ran extremely well, and our truck here at Bill Davis Racing ran really good too. So we're pretty excited for where we had to start and come up through. You know, just real happy about it.
Johnny Benson's previous best finish here at Lowe's Motor Speedway was 8th in a Cup race in 2000. Rick?
Well, Michael, you had complained a little bit about the track. Are you still thinking that the track might not be as good as what everybody's talking about?
I don't know, Rick. It was a whole lot like what I thought you'd see. The track is so fast, it makes it a little bit more difficult to race on. Is it going to be more action-packed? I think tonight answers that question, yes, because of the fact that you're going so fast. When you get in the corner, you got to crowd a guy to make it around there. It just takes a little bit more room to go faster around a turn, so I'm not really surprised by what I saw.
But it seems like the Nextel Cup cars aren't quite as dependent on the air as the trucks, so we may see a little more side-by-side racing because we don't see the Nextel Cup cars get so loose on the inside of another car like the trucks do.
And you know, in NASCAR's infinite wisdom, they said we're going to take aero off these Cup cars. It's going to make for better racing. After you watch a truck struggle when they're side by side, looks like maybe NASCAR made another good decision.
Well, in 2 weeks, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series gets back to racing, and we will be at Dover. Kyle Busch said he thinks he may have just won a ride in that race, so we'll see if Kyle Busch is piloting number 15 in 2 weeks for the Craftsman Truck Series. Mike Skinner was the dominant truck to start off with. He won the pole, set a new track record, 29.5 seconds, but it wasn't meant to be. As he came out of turn number 4, he had problems, as did quite a few trucks tonight, having problems getting off pit road, getting on the pit road, and some just having trouble staying on the track. But there was no problems for the number 15 of Kyle Busch. He was able to claim his first victory in his 8th start for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.